Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back.
What's going on?
I know it's been a minute. Just want to welcome back all of our viewers, supporters. Want to send a quick shout out to all those guys that checked us out on the first episode. I haven't even gone back to check the views or any of that, any of the stats on it. But I did see a few of the commentary and some personal text and encouragement that I received. So I appreciate all you guys that took the time. So just want to welcome you guys back. I know you might have thought you got rid of us, but we're back.
We're back, baby.
What up, Nate Dogg?
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man.
It's been like since that first podcast, 6 months?
Yeah, we dropped it back in March. And then it seems like we kind of hit a snag, and just kind of want to get everybody up to speed on that, what exactly went down. Yeah, we thought we were ready to roll and start pumping these episodes out, but, I guess God had other plans, a divine delay. But here we are, man. It's good to be back. Glad to have you guys checking us out again. Yeah, man, just kind of hit a few snags on the production side of it. Want to send a quick shout out to our boy Doug behind the scenes, our producer.
Sir. Dougie Fresh.
He kind of recently went through a transition with his job and his career. And so we had to call an audible and go out and start investing in a lot of our own equipment, which we had already done some of, but we had to go out and purchase cameras and stands and all that kind of good stuff, so that we can get back on track. And so our friend Doug behind the scenes, he I don't want to speak for him, but he changed jobs. He left a long time job, so now he is kind of doing something different. And so a lot of that had to do with the help we were getting from him and scheduling and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, a lot has happened since then. Even the first episode that we put out, it was really, we didn't plan for it to drop. Yeah. It was just a little test shoot, but
it was more impromptu, just kind of testing out the equipment.
Yeah, as you can see, our setting, we didn't even have our sign up.
Yeah, I think the last time we had the tape and everything on the wall. So you want to give a little bit of update on you in the last 6 months, or what's been going on?
Well, yeah, I mean, since then, like I said, just kind of been scrambling, trying to get pieces of equipment together and stuff to try to get back on track. Just doing the family thing with our two sons, trying to raise them. And they finished up the previous school year. Well, Levi did, our oldest son.
Yeah. He
finished up the previous, his first year in public school, pre-K. He wrapped up the year, and then it was summer break. So, during summer break, it's full of activities with the family and stuff. So just kind of been busy, was busy with that during the summertime. Celebrated a birthday since then.
Oh, yeah.
You too.
August 24th.
Yeah. So
big 3-4 now.
Yeah.
You're, how old are you now?
the reverse, the flip side, 43.
43, wow.
Yeah.
10-year difference.
Yeah, so... celebrated a birthday since then. And even last weekend, my wife, she had a birthday. So, a lot has happened since the last time we got on. Yeah. So, just kind of doing the family thing and trying to get this baby rolling again. Yep. So, here we are, man.
Yep.
Yeah. So, just wanted to get everybody up to speed on that and welcome everybody back, man. We're excited for what's in store. Just recently we got a chance to go and celebrate Maya's birthday, my wife, and that was a cool experience.
That was pretty cool.
We had a little staycation. It's interesting how just a little change in scenery can make a world of a difference, and have you feeling more refreshed, you know,
Right.
once you get back from that. So it was kind of impromptu too, something spontaneous that just kind of came up. We got a chance to go out to a little town next to Kima. I was never really familiar with it. It's called San Leon.
Right.
So we got a chance to go there. Our good friend Lexi, she invited us because she's I think a sous chef for the restaurant, and she had given us the idea of going out there to check out the restaurant and enjoy a nice meal. And the owner of the place has some bungalows that they rent out, Airbnb. And so we got to stay the night out there. So it was a really cool experience, man. And we were glad that you got to join us for that as well.
Yeah. And shout out to all them, like Lexi and the owners of that restaurant. They hooked it up.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. The staff was great. The food was definitely great. I mean, if you guys are ever in that area, you should go check that place out. It's called Pier 6.
Yeah, for
San
sure.
Leon, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I enjoyed it. It's good to kind of get away.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's it's crazy how, like, just, you know, it's probably about an hour away from here, you know, not too far. But just the slight change in scenery, man, it makes, you know, has you feeling totally different, you know?
Yep.
So, but that was really nice. We got to go have dinner, stayed the night, and then we woke up and we drove over to the island, Galveston Island.
Mm-hmm.
There's a church that we have been following online that we wanted to check out in person. So since we weren't too far, we decided to go there on the following Sunday, when we woke up the next day. And we went out there, and that was a really nice experience, you know, getting to worship with those guys over there in person, and, you know, heard a good message. And then once we dismissed from church, we got to go have some lunch right there on the boulevard, on Seawall Boulevard, right next to the beach. And that was another cool experience, man. And we actually got to meet a pastor of another church there on the island, him and his wife. And that was a really cool experience, man. And, you know, it was something spontaneous, but it felt very organic, man.
Right.
And that's something that we've been talking about, you know, trying to make those kind of connections with folks, you know, and that's what this is all about. Just trying to use this as a tool to be able to network and connect with people that might relate to us,
right? Share
common backgrounds, even if you come from a different walk of life. It kind of just reminded me of what this is all about, man. What we're trying to do here, man, is not, like I said, we didn't even go back and really check how many views we got on the first video. We didn't, you know, I think you would agree with me that we're not the type of people that are just doing this for likes,
right?
You know, for clout. You know, we're not even trying to monetize, man. You know, if that happens, you know, that'll be an extra blessing. But, you know, at the core of this is all about just trying to connect with folks, man. Like-minded. You know, just trying to connect with like-minded, kindred spirits, you know. And, you know, I read a post just recently about, and it got me thinking about, it was mentioning that God was opening doors in this season to make covenantal like relationships, lifelong friends. And it got me thinking, I was like, man, like that's pretty hard to achieve, you know? And I just started thinking about my situation personally, like how many lifelong friends have I made, you know? And it's something that the people that I've encountered, in my experience, the people that I've talked to and met, like inside and outside of church, has always been with that intention to go deeper. And, you know, I've never really believed in just, you know, a passerby.
Right.
You know, just greeting people, you know, passing by, and like just even when we've had workers coming in here to do like repairs and stuff around the house and stuff, like I can't help myself but to like start asking questions about their background and getting to know them. You know, it's just something, you know, I'm just looking to make those kind of friends and connections, you know, always.
Right.
It seems like we're on this quest, you know, to because I think at the end of the day, we need each other, man, to arrive at that final destination that we're trying to get at, whether it's success that we're looking for, and everybody's definition of success looks different.
Right.
So I think we need to lean on each other and have people, in our lives that can help us get there, man, because we can't do it alone.
Oh, yeah. No, you can't, man. Yeah, me personally, I've kind of been on my own little journey. As you can see, the name of the podcast is Endless Pursuit. And, like every day I'm still figuring stuff out. I still haven't even, I think I may have mentioned I still haven't even read this thing into its entirety yet. That's one of my goals, is to dive a little bit more deeper into that.
Yeah.
But also in my personal life, just, you're going back to talking about friends and like-mindedness. Over the last few years, I've been kind of like reassessing the people like that I've been hanging with. I used to go out quite a bit before, and a lot of those relationships again were like very surface level. But what I've realized now is just focusing on a handful of friends and building those real relationships, like hanging out and just investing more time into that, like quality, building those relationships. And I feel like it's been more beneficial to me because it doesn't, it's good to know a lot of people, but like when you can focus just on a few friends, I mean, if you have multiple friends, you're being dragged to and fro, and you're not really able to like build those deep relationships. And so that's why I've kind of, in a way, I've kind of like stopped hanging out with certain people and stuff, just to focus on those core relationships, and so that's where I've kind of been at. And then also, just getting back in shape, that kind of stuff, just kind of motivate, getting myself back in that, that mindset. Yeah. So, but it takes having a good core group of people around you, to help motivate you too. Like, we've talked about this, that are kind of, on the same wavelength. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, the Bible says that iron sharpens iron, and, so it's like, I think it's very beneficial and helpful to us, man, in our walk and our journey. And it's like, man, like, I'm always, that when I saw that post, it really had me thinking. It's like, man, what do we have to do to achieve that, and make those kind of friendships, because I mean, we've met tons of like good people, like even, the old group of friends that I had back in the day, they were good people. I enjoyed my time, hanging out with them and stuff. But, I started getting into church, and like we kind of just grew apart. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing personal or anything. I was just God took me on a different journey.
Right.
And just conflict of interest, really, they were still into the party scene and hanging out and all that kind of stuff. And God was just pulling me like in a different direction, into church and stuff like that. So we just kind of grew apart. And but it's weird because like never once did anybody like, try to check in on me and see how I was doing. And it's like, I always wondered, like, man, like, what if something happened to me and, and nobody even really like made an effort to check in, man. It's like, what's up with that, And I know it goes both ways too, man. That's been my experiences, even in church, where we've had many people traffic through our home, and we've shared meals with people. And like I've told you and others that one of the most intimate experiences that you could have, other than between like man and one husband and wife, and sexual relations, is like, sharing a meal and worshiping, together.
Right.
Those are two very intimate experiences, when you worship together with somebody or when you share a meal with them.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, we shared, numerous meals with people. We've had people come, into our home and welcome them into our space and stuff like that. And it's like, And it's sad to see just, people just come and go.
Yep.
And like I was saying earlier, man, my intention is always to try to make a connection and build on, off of that. And so that's a desire that I have, especially now, like trying to live for God and seeking after God is like, I'm trying to establish that and find people who share, a lot of the same convictions and even those that don't, but that can, help me grow and develop, and become a better person too, so that's what I'm striving for. And when I saw that post, it got me thinking, man, and I was like, man, like, what does it really take to form those lifelong relationships, man? And it's like, I want to be more intentional about that.
Right.
And it took me back to that experience meeting that pastor, and I was listening. You shared a podcast episode with me with one of Andrew Tate's friends, a guy that runs with him.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember his name.
I think it was Jay Waller.
Jay Waller. Like yeah. So one of the things that he mentioned was that, like, the way when he describes how he hit it off with the Andrew Tate and his brother. I can't remember Andrew Tate's brother.
Tristan.
Yeah. So I think he hit it off with Tristan, the brother.
Yeah.
And he mentions how, like, when you look somebody in the eyes and you just know. Yep. And man, there's been many occasions where I thought, like, I look somebody in the eyes and it's like, wow, we're going to become real good friends, but for some reason or another, it just kind of dissolved or it didn't happen,
Yeah.
And meeting that pastor, it was one of those occasions where it seems like I looked him right in the eye, man, and like, I might have made a connection with a kindred spirit, and he seemed very genuine, down to earth, man. Very cool, but obviously they live in Galveston and we live over here, so it'd be much harder to kind of like form a lifelong bond with them. Who knows what happens, like his wife and my wife might exchange information, but we'll see what'll come from it. But the chance of it happening is like less realistic, but it just had me thinking, like, it would be cool to connect with this dude and like become real good friends with him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just based off that, like, look in his eyes and we've had those experiences,
Well, even when I met you, I mean, like I remember when I first met you at Church of Champions, like whenever you came, because I think I was sitting on the side because they had some side pews. They have the pews and they had some side pews off to the on each side of the sanctuary. And I remember one morning or one Sunday, I think you walked up and introduced yourself and he was like, "Hey man, you should join up, come sit with us," or something like that. And then after that, I think we went to lunch and And with me, I'm pretty good at like reading energy and picking up on people's personalities and stuff. And when I met you, man, I felt like I was like, bro, this dude's for real. Like he, you could just tell when somebody's genuine or not, And I think that's what I kind of basically what they were alluding to in the podcast. Like whenever he met Tristan Tate. And he's like, man, I just knew when I first met him that, we were going to be lifelong friends. And I can't say that I didn't know I was going to be lifelong friends with you, but that's the vibe that I got when I was like, man, this dude's like, what's up? And how long has it been since then? It was since 2008 now.
Yeah.
But even though it doesn't seem like a long time, it actually feels like I've known you probably even longer, like as if we grew up together or something in some weird way. Even though there's an age difference between us, I feel like you and I grew up together in a way,
Yeah.
So
likewise too. Yeah.
And so, it's just trying to find more people like that. And then we were talking about that in our last small group last Saturday, what was that question that you had asked the group about, and I kind of brought up like, what do we do to
what would it take, to light a fire underneath each of us,
Right.
What would be that one spark?
Right. And I think it all goes hand in hand with finding like-minded people. And I kind of brought up the culture,
Yeah.
When I see like groups like, those Tate brothers and how they have their little circle of friends and how tight knit they are.
Yeah.
Or, even out here in Sugar Land, they have that Hell Alpha Elite gym and all those dudes. Like, it started out with one guy,
Yeah.
and then he ended up bringing up all his other boys, and that's what I think it starts with the culture, and it basically, those guys, I don't know if they're believers or not, but some of the stuff that culture that they're breeding is some of the stuff that's talked about in the Bible, going back into the Acts, we talked about it several times.
Exactly.
Where, what scripture is it? Acts 2? Or,
Acts chapter 2, when the early church begins to form.
Right. And just having everything in common with each other, like literally, like, if it, say all of us in here, making X amount of dollars and so-and-so's, oh man, I'm barely struggling. Like, we come together and pull together and help that guy, help our fellow brother out. Yeah. And get everybody on the same level. Yep. That's how it should be. That's how the church should be, I feel like.
Yep.
And I can keep going. I can go in and on that, but I don't want to, go on tone rant on that. But yeah, I think it all kind of goes together,
Yeah. Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, for sure, man. 'Cause like, we all may come from different walks of life. Mm-hmm. But it's about just finding those similarities and those things that we have in common and just building off of that. You know what I'm saying? And, oftentimes, man, and you coming into the church, you think like, oh man, like, and you read the scripture where like Jesus Christ himself even says like, when the disciples are pointing out his mom or, his mother and his brother and he like corrects them and he's like, no, my brother and sister are those that do the will of, my Father in heaven. And it's like, it's basically saying that the brotherhood within the body of Christ should be stronger than like blood relatives. You know what I'm saying? So you go into that, you enter into this world of, into this body of Christ and you're like, you're thinking like everybody you meet is going to become a lifelong friend and, you're going to move in unison, move, forward in unison through your life and stuff like that. And it's not the case, man. Yeah. And it's I'll just be honest. It's kind of disappointing. Yeah. Because I've gone into all these people that we've entertained in our home and people that we've shared meals with. And it's like I said, my intentions is to like establish that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, when you come away from that and nothing comes from it, it's disappointing, man, because me being an introvert, and I was talking to Doug and I were talking yesterday when we were setting up the studio and everything, how exhausting it could be for people like us that aren't that outgoing, when you're pouring yourself out literally, bro, to try to connect, man. It takes a lot of effort for, and I'm sure my fellow introverts will, be able to relate, to put yourself into a social setting and, just pouring yourself out, just trying to really make that connection and to come away from that with nothing. Yeah. It's like you're making an investment in somebody else and it's like, you're not getting that in return, Yeah. When you read about it, and you think that everybody believes the same way and is going into it with the same, intentions. Right. And then to come away from it with nothing. Yeah. You rolled out the red carpet. You showed, all the hospitality that you could. You just try to do everything right. Right. And to come away from it with nothing, it's always, it's left me bummed out many a times, man. And it's like, so hearing this or seeing that post and it had me thinking a lot, man, and something we've been talking about. And as uncomfortable as this is for us, we were like, man, like, let's put ourselves out there, to see if perhaps, online, we can make these connections online and, hopefully eventually, it can be in person as well, because of the disappointment that we've dealt with, trying to do so. What we think is the right way. Right. And so, yeah, man, you go into it thinking like, man, like, I'm about to, we're a body, we're the body of Christ. And like, man, we're there, a lot of people call themselves Christians. So you're like, man, that's, my brother, that's my sister. And, we're about to have like a world of friends, but man, like it's not necessarily the case.
Yeah. It's almost like you go back into back in high school where you had the popular kids,
the cliques,
all the little cliques, and that's basically what's been going on kind of in the church.
Yeah, man.
And it's sad. It should not even be that way whatsoever.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. So we're just trying to buck that trend, man. That's what this is all about. We just want to buck that trend, and we really, really like, I can't emphasize it enough, that we really are seeking for that, man. And reading that post, and then even meeting this that pastor and his wife out there in Galveston, it gave me, it was like I told you, it was a refreshing experience. It kind of gave me a glimmer of hope that it's still possible. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, man, it's had me really reflecting, on everything. And it left me asking myself, like, is there more that I could do? Can I be more intentional about like creating and forming these lifelong bonds? You know what I'm saying? So like, I've been thinking so much about it that I don't know what else to do. Nothing short than like just asking people, will you be my lifelong friend? Kind of like, back in the day when you send a little note to a chick, will you be my girlfriend? Circle yes or no.
Yeah.
It's almost to that point. It's like, man, I don't even know what else to do. Like anything short of that, like, do you just have to like, just put it out there and be like, hey man, I think, we connect, and, I think we could be lifelong friends. But yeah, man. So it's kind of given me like, experiencing that with that pastor and his wife is kind of, and then just seeing that post recently is, as disappointing as it may seem, it kind of gave me a renewed sense of purpose and mission, especially behind this,
right.
What we're trying to do, man. Cause man, I remember back in the day with my old group of friends, man, we rode pretty deep everywhere we went,
right.
And that's when I think of the early church and the apostles and the disciples and stuff, like that's how I see them. It describes, like you said earlier, they shared everything in common. They might have come from different walks of life, but they all got on the same page.
Right.
And I think, they got to the core of who they really wanted to be, and began to share all things in common and move in unity, and kind of like what we talked about last week in our little get together, our weekly gathering that we have, about, what it would take to see all of us come up, because that's how I see the disciples, the early church, moving. When they moved and they did things, it just seemed like the way they operated and they functioned was not to leave anybody behind.
Right.
Whether it was, emotionally, spiritually, financially, if they saw somebody struggling in those areas of their life, doing whatever they could to bring, help them come up.
Right.
To all be on the same level and continue to move in the same direction and progress and build one another. So, yeah, man, that's really been something that I feel have a burden for, and just trying to connect with people, man. And because you're trying to do it the only way you know how.
Yeah.
And so it's like you kind of get stuck. And you start, I guess, trying to think of other alternatives and other options on how to do so, how to carry out the mission,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. So me being in the banking, like I kind of grew up more introvert as well. But now I pick and choose when I need to be introvert. And I think a lot of it came from like the job that I'm in. I have to deal with a lot of people. And it's a relationship business. And so, there's, what I've used, whether it be my spirit or intuition, like when I meet people, you can just tell like off the bat, like if it's going to be a real relationship. Some of these people, like you could tell, like, like in my business, like for instance, like you got people that are there because we have a real relationship, or we have also some clients that are just, rate shoppers, or they were trying to get how can I get the best for me, and it's not really like a relation. It's like, what can I get out of this? And if we can like switch our mindset
Yep.
and you know, ride with somebody, then you start seeing the fruits of everything. Because when you're bouncing around, those ain't real relationships.
Yeah.
Man. Like, I mean, especially when it comes to like, you know, when something goes down, like, you know, those people aren't going to be there.
Yeah.
You know? Like you turn around, oh, where'd they go? So that's why I've been kind of focusing on just a handful of select friends. And, you know, I'm not trying to be like, I don't know how to say this. I know my value basically.
Yeah.
And it's like, if people can't see that, then I mean, that's their loss, you know?
Right. Right.
And so that's the way I kind of used to get into that same mindset like you, like, oh man, like why how come I'm not seeing, you know, this, or why I'm not like, how come these people, why am I not finding these like-minded people? And I've just learned, like, you know, I feel like God is just bringing those people to me and at certain times in my life. And I feel like the ones that I do have, they've all come at certain times in my life when I was going through things.
Yeah.
And they've been there ever since, and vice versa. Like, they've been going through stuff, and I was there through the thick and thin through all of it.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, those are going to be lifelong relationships that I have forever. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring up that point. You kind of finished my thought. You completed my thought earlier that I was trying to make. Is like, you've seen a growing trend of, like, especially here in the big old city, where you meet people and it's all about, you know, what they can gain from that meeting, that meetup or whatever. And it's like a take kind of relationship. You know, what have you done for me lately?
Right.
And it's like, it's sad, man, but that's just the reality that we're living in. And that's why I'm very grateful for you, like what you describe, you know, like we've been able to reciprocate, you know, that for each other, man, like, you know, being there for each other through thick and thin, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yep.
And I think, you know, that's why we're where we're at right now, man. But it's sad, man, but we're trying to buck the trend, man. Just do what we can. And, you know, because when you read the word of God, it teaches you that it's better to give than to receive. You know what I'm saying? And but you know, the worldly system, it you know, it's become more about like take consumption, you know?
Yep.
And so it's like, man, like just trying to be the difference and connect with people. And so you know, you read about servanthood a lot. You know, Christ was meek and lowly, and you know, he taught us that he didn't come to be ministered unto, to be served, but to serve others, man.
Right.
And so that's the lifestyle that you're trying to live. You know, so you're constantly putting yourself out there, man. As exhausting as it can be for people with our kind of personalities, that, you know. And so like Doug and I were talking yesterday, man. It's like, you know, we've been in social settings where there's, you know, a crowd and you're entertaining and trying to you mingle and chit chat and stuff, but you come away so exhausted from that.
Yeah.
So it's like that lifestyle of servanthood, man. It's like you're constantly putting yourself out there, you know, just to see if you can make a connection with a fellow Christ follower, or to lead somebody to Christ, you know, because that's what it teaches us. So, you know, to come away from that, like, constantly with nothing, no results, man, it's like, it can be draining, man.
Right.
So yeah, man, it's about how we can try to connect, man. And I think it starts with just being our like how you said, man, just realizing our value and what we bring to the table, man.
Yeah. I mean,
and just kind of not giving up the good fight of faith, man, and just, you know, just keep trying and but I can't. That's why I keep referring to that encounter with that guy, man. You know, it gave me it was refreshing to see that, because I could see that dude in the eyes, and if the situation was different and we were there on the island, that possibly something can come from that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And who's to say something can still come from it? You know, if we get to visit, because they invited us to they have a little Airbnb right there on the island, which was cool of them to like mention. And they said we could, we're always welcome to rent it out at a discounted rate, and visit their church and stuff. So, it's not to say that something can come from it still. So,
right.
It just gave me, I came away feeling that was a refreshing encounter. It kind of just gave me a renewed focus, renewed sense of purpose and mission and stuff, and for what we're trying to do here, man.
Right.
Just trying to do all we can to make those connections. And man, it would be so nice to, like, 10 years down the line. I'm so grateful for like Doug.
Yeah.
And, like you said, you mentioned earlier, at just the right times, it seems like, you've encountered these people, met these people have come into your lives and stuff. I'm grateful for people like Doug, Jose,
yep. Within
just this past year or so, that we've been able to, get more acquainted, become more acquainted and become better friends. And because when I've met them, you can, you could tell right away, man.
Yeah.
So, it would be cool, like 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, if the Lord hasn't
kicking it.
Yeah, that we're still kicking it like that, man, cause that's the, I think that's the end goal, man.
Yeah. Even this past week, we observed Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
And, I think we started this back in, we kind of started observing some of we haven't been like religious with it or anything like that, but we're just trying to be more observant of some of the Jewish holidays and some of the customs.
Yeah.
But again, not trying to be too religious with it. But I think, was it in 2020 when we did the whole Passover thing?
Yeah.
I mean, that was real cool because, I mean, obviously we're there to acknowledge God, but man, just being in that, it kind of reminded me of, I always mention, I have my immediate family here in Texas, but it's not like, I got my mom, stepdad, and then an aunt here and a couple cousins. But I mean, in my mind, I'm envisioning like a whole family, like kind of like Thanksgiving when you get together with your family. That's the vibe that I kind of got when we did the whole Rosh Hashanah. But it wasn't like, even though they weren't my family, it was like you guys are my family pretty much now.
Yeah.
But just having you guys there, it was like, man, this is what I envision of like, a family gathering.
Right.
And just having that feeling you get when you're around that, it's just,
yeah.
There's like a lot of thankfulness. Like there's a lot of things that come to mind in that setting.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I think the reason we've been doing a lot of this is because, I know the Bible, I mean, it doesn't really say like the whole split off with and I'm not trying to go get all legalistic with this. And again, I'm no theologian. But this is from what I'm reading is the Bible is very simple. And I'm just trying to figure out where we got off to create this whole thing. Like, just, hey, we're Christians, but like, Jesus, he was Jewish,
Yeah.
And he never came out and said, hey guys, I'm going to create this religion called Christianity and you guys follow it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I'm at, in my endless pursuit journey is I'm still trying to learn that, like, going back to the old way, some of the customs and stuff.
Yeah.
I think even Andrew Tate has talked about some of that stuff in some of his content that I've seen, like in today's society, man, a lot of these new ways of thinking or this woke, thing going on, like, trying to change the way we think. But that's like, man, there's something to going back to these old foundational principles, man.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've kind of going, it's kind of like we're going back into time and like, hey, let's, why are we observing some of these? Why aren't we observing some of these? Because I don't remember, like, again, I didn't grow up in church, but like the times when I was in church, I mean, I never noticed that we really, I mean, besides like Easter, but that, that kind of stuff, but we never really practiced some of the Jewish, stuff. And so I think that's pretty cool to like, be able to do that. So.
Yeah, No, for sure. Yeah, it allows us to kind of like, because you think about their journey. You know, we talk about the endless pursuit journey that we're on. You think about the journey that the Israelites had to come out of bondage and to be delivered, you know, out of the hand of the Egyptians, you know, after years and years of living in oppression like that. And then to have to cross the Red Sea. You know, can you imagine how overwhelming and dramatic that was? You know, and then to wander in the wilderness. Yeah. So it's like, you know, in reality, all they had was God and each other, bro.
Yep.
You know, so like God instituted these practices to reinforce that unity, bro, that familiar setting. You know, this is just me thinking out loud, right. You know, my interpretation and what I feel.
Right.
You know, like you said, we're no theologians, we're no experts. But when I read the word of God, it's as if the Lord is reinforcing that, because they're out there in the wild, bro, in the desert, barren conditions. Like it says that he was leading them on that journey with a column of cloud by day, and then a column of fire by night through the wilderness.
Yep.
So that all seems like very heavy and dramatic, man. And it's like, at the end of the day, man, it was just the people around them, man.
Yep.
That was the only way they were going to get through that. So the Lord instituted these rituals. He instructed them specifically to do these things. And I believe, from what I gather, from what I interpret, that it was to reinforce that unity, that bond, so that they wouldn't, I guess, become discouraged and want to flee back to what was familiar back in Egypt. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they can continue on the journey and finish it out.
Right.
And get to their final destination.
Yep.
So it's like when we can get together and observe the way they did, man, it's just, it kind of, like you said, man, it's like taking you back to what it's really all about. And it's a very intimate experience. You know, it's something deeper than just your usual, like, sharing a meal with somebody.
Yep. You
know what I'm saying? There's just a whole nother layer to it.
Yeah. It almost goes back to what you were saying either. It's like, or what you were saying about that intimacy, you know?
Yeah.
Having those conversations over a meal, you know, all that kind of stuff, man. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So when you compare it to Thanksgiving, if you think about it, at Thanksgiving, bro, it's all about like that gratitude. And from that, man, it just allows all of us to just connect on a whole different level. You know, when we kind of like come to the table with that in mind, you know what I'm saying? It just kind of like, you forget about all the petty stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You forget about everything else, and you just kind of like just grateful. And it just takes that meal, you know. It's not about what you have on the table, the turkey, the sides, and all that stuff. At the end of the day, it's not even about that. And it becomes about something much more deeper. It takes that whole sharing a meal to a different, level. Yep. And so because you're coming into it with that spirit of gratitude, man. You know, so that's why, like, you know, I can see how you make that comparison.
Yeah.
You know, when we sit and try to acknowledge and observe some of these special days and occasions on the Jewish calendar, you know. And I think it's because it's reinforcing that, what it's really all about.
Yeah. That
sense of unity and family.
Yeah.
You know, and just trying to get back to that, man.
Yeah. You
know, because like we were saying earlier, man, like we just really have to do something to buck this trend, man, because it's you know, you hear about it being a dog-eat-dog world, man, but literally it's becoming that, bro. Yeah. It's so nasty out there.
Yeah.
And, man, yeah, just trying to, you know, be the difference, man.
Yep.
So,
well, we're the ones that have to create it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts with us. At the end of the day, it really does boil down to us, you know, individually, you know, and that obviously starts with putting God first, having some kind of, I think you had like my whole thing, you know, going back to what I was saying, like the journey that I'm on right now, I'm kind of going back to my root, because obviously everything, it starts with your mindset and your heart. And so like right now I've been like building that up, you know, my spiritual life. And then obviously I'm working on my physical life, you know, getting in shape, and then also trying to progress in my career and those types of things. And but it starts with that. It starts with that, man. At the end of the day, that's the foundation of it all. Because with that, then you get the mindset, and then you can go out and execute. And then once you get to get that fire within yourself, then it's contagious. It spreads onto somebody else, and then they catch the bug, and then and it's supposed to spread, man. And that's how it should be. And it shouldn't be forced or anything like that. Yeah. It should just naturally just come from within, man.
Be very organic.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate what you're saying right now too, about trying to better yourself, because if we're really coming to the table, it's like we talk about a spread, like a potluck dinner, and we're each bringing something to the table, man. And it's always better if we can offer the best version of ourselves, to our fellow man, the person sitting next to us, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I appreciate, you saying that you're on a mission to try to better yourself, because then in turn you can come back and bring a better offering, you know what I'm saying? So. Yeah.
Cause at the end of the day, man, like during 2020, during COVID, our bank, they have this program called the Dream Manager. And one of the books that we read was, I think it was called The Rhythm of Life by Matthew Kelly. Yeah. And the whole premise of the book was basically about, and that guy actually had a spiritual background, like in church and stuff. And so it was he kind of brought some of that spiritual aspect in this book. But basically it was just, the whole thing really revolved around being the best version of yourself, and setting goals and going out and starting small, like, whether it be, kind of like what we're doing here, like with the whole podcast, we started out with one video, and then all this stuff happened, but we can't let that get us down. We got to keep pressing forward.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, man. So the better off we are, then the more we can offer to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So self-improvement has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. And
yeah, man, I really appreciate what you, having you in our lives.
Likewise, man.
You've been there for a minute, man. And, I hope, like we joke around and, about your relationship status, and we're all looking forward to that day when you meet, that's a whole nother subject for another episode, but we're looking forward to seeing you find the one, man, and the person that we feel like you deserve,
right?
And we want to be there to celebrate that, man. And it's kind of going back to the, I can't help but to reference the Bible, man, because I don't do a lot of supplemental reading, I just focus on God's word mostly. And, one thing comes to mind when I think about relationships, and it's like, I always remember in the book of Romans, it says to rejoice with those who rejoice and to weep with those who weep, man. Right. So when times are tough, it's about us getting in the trenches with each other and trying to lift each other up, man. Yeah. And if it's a struggle, something you're struggling with, and, man, to be there with each other, shedding, if you're shedding tears, I'm shedding tears, I remember when I don't mean to bring this up, cause I know it's, still fresh, but when you lost your longtime, pet, your Banksy, dog, Banksy, man, that was rough on you, bro. And, when I heard that in your voice, bro, I was like, man, dude, I got to get over there, man, and comfort my boy, I got to be there for him, and it's about that. But also when we come up, man, to celebrate those moments where, each of us comes up too, man. That's what I think about when I think about relationships and how it should look like.
Yeah.
These, being there through thick and thin.
Yeah. And bro, that day, man, that was like, yeah, that was crazy. Cause it was like that day that, you know, when I found him after work, you know, he passed, and, just y'all, like, I mean, your wife, the kids came out, my brother, my sister, my mom, all of them like came out, and I was like, dang, like, and that to me, like, you know, you don't like I don't know how to even word this, but I really didn't think, I was like, man, like, you know, it was like a middle of the week too. It was like a Monday or Tuesday or something. Yeah. And so for everybody to like take time out of their evening and to come out, and when I saw that, man, it was like, man, that was powerful, bro. Like, I never really told anybody that, but I was like, man, like, this is what it's about. Like what we're describing about, like being there for one another. Like even in an instant, even though it sounds so significant, oh, my pet passed away. And having your friends come over and like, dude, that was like very powerful, dog.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
I know it sounds very, you know,
nah, man. Cause if you think about it, it's easy to do the, you know, the celebration part of it is easy, bro. It's easy to show up on the scene when the vibe is happening and we're celebrating a joyous occasion, bro. Right. But what about whenever, like, you know, something tough, you know, something happens, you know, a hardship, you know, a crisis, you know, what is the reaction then?
Yep.
Huh? Yep. Are we going to be selfish and just like mind our own business and want to stay away? Or are we going to get in there with the, you know, that person, man?
Yeah.
You know, it's easy, man, when the vibe is different. But when it, man, bro, like, and that's what I think about, man. When I, you know, when I'm in relationship with somebody, when I have friendships, it's like, you know, I want to be there, man.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, man, like it was mutual, you know, when we showed up on the scene and we were able to, you know, comfort you and help you get through that, you know, it was a mutual blessing in that, bro. That's why whenever, man, the word of God never fails, man. And it's, you know, it's faithful, man. What the word says is so true, because it's, you know, how it kind of going back to what I mentioned earlier, it's so much better to give than to receive, man.
Yeah.
Because whenever you show up on the scene of a crisis or something like that, and you're able to help a person in distress, man, there's something supernatural and powerful in that, that you end up, you know, sharing some of that blessing too.
Yep.
You know, when you share in that, the blessing of recovery and restoration, you know, and healing, you know, there's something deep and supernatural about that, bro.
Oh yeah.
You know, and a lot of people miss out on that because of selfishness or just putting themselves first, or because ego or, you know, oh, you know, what have they done for me lately?
Yeah.
It's so easy to like cop out like that, man. Anybody can like find a cop out in those moments. But think about it, when it's popping off and everything's like hype, you know, everybody wants to rally then, huh?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, man, who you find out real quick, man, when you go through some stuff. You
who's
know,
really there?
Yeah, man, who's really there, man? So, but that's what it's all about, you know. Kind of getting back to we see ourselves celebrating that occasion when you finally meet the one, man, and just being there for not just the thick and the thin, but man, those joyous occasions as well, man. So, you know, like having Doug in our lives now, having Jose, just, you know, that's usually my intention with everyone that we meet since I've given my life to Christ. You know, before I was very selfish and just thought about myself and my group of homies back then. And but now since I've given my life to the Lord, man, it's all about, like, that's how I go into every encounter that I have with people, man. You know, hoping to just spark it up with them, man. And yeah, man, it's like, you know, you try to bend over backwards and do all that you can, but at the end of the day, man, you can only do your part, man.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to obey God's word, living a lifestyle of servanthood, you know, and we just got to stick with it, man. And I think, you know, we talked about the times that we're living in. We you know, you're going to hear us mention that a lot. We're living in some crazy times right now in our world, and I think it's kind of like we've talked about it. It's a weeding out process that I'm I feel like God is revealing to us it's a weeding out process, just a separation. And, in the Bible, it mentions like the wheat and the tare, separating the goats from the sheep. So there's a separation going on, man. And I think like, it's to bring about the real ones.
Yep.
And that's what we're looking to connect with, man, at the end of the day, man.
Yep.
So, as hard as it is, as much of a, we're kind of going against the grain, but I believe we're gonna see a breakthrough, and we're gonna see results, man, and hopefully through this, we can make some of those connections as well, man.
Oh, we will, man.
So,
you gotta believe it, bro.
That's my prayer, man. That's really my prayer, and the only reason, like, I'm doing this, just trying to be hopeful for that. Yeah. Doing as much as I can with personal encounters. But hey, man, this is what the medium that a lot of people are using. So hey, why not, man?
Yep.
If we have the resources, thank God for the resources, for the support, man, Doug, big shout out to Doug, man. He's a godsend right now, bro. There's no way this set would be complete without him.
Yep.
This production would be incomplete without him. So I know he's a godsend, and I can't not acknowledge that. So while we have the resources and the support, man, we got to use whatever's available to us.
Yeah, man.
So, part of arriving at our final destination and being on this endless pursuit is to like, who can we bring along with us on the journey, man?
Yep.
So we can have a true celebration of life when we get to the end. You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of like, talking about that, even like with traveling and stuff, like the reason I haven't gone too far out yet to other countries yet is because I want to go with other people. Like, I don't want to just go by myself. I want to experience that stuff. And it's the same thing with our life. I'd rather experience it with, friends, people that have been there through the thick and thin. And, because man, we go back and, we can sit there and talk about those or reminisce on those things. And we can also learn from those things, like in the past too.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Bible, just going back. And I mean, all these people in the Bible, man, were flawed, bro. Like,
right.
And the way I see it, we're human, man. We all make mistakes, like I've told you, I'm not perfect whatsoever. Like, I do my thing, but I'm still striving, even though people like from the outside, they're like, oh bro, were you were out last night or whatever. I mean, yeah. Okay. Was that like a big deal? Like, is that affecting your life really?
Yeah.
Like that's like between me and God.
Right.
And I'm still on that journey. God knows, like at the end of the day, God knows my heart, and so I feel, like for a while I felt like I had to like prove myself or I felt like I was like in this box, like for a long time. And I was like, nah, man, I don't think this is, I don't know. I think God, in my own way, I feel like God is like revealing things to me, like in a very different way. It's probably a different like thought process. From some of the traditional thoughts. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but at the end of the day, man, we're all on our own journey, or our personal journey with God, and that's what makes all of our journeys unique. Because we're all on different. If we were all doing the same thing, cookie cutter, I mean, what is that going to do for us? So I think we all have go through things, and I think that I don't know, man. We're all on this journey, man. I feel like I know I'm repeating myself a couple of times here.
No. Repetition is good because it's for emphasis, bro.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with that. I'm reminded of an old Snoop Dogg classic.
Which one?
It ain't no fun if the homies can't have none.
Yep.
And man, such a simple little lyric, but a deep, powerful message, man. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. What good is it if we get to the mountaintop, and we have these moments, these joyous occasions, to celebrate, and we reap the rewards of all of our hard work, have all this success, we reap all these blessings, if there's nobody to celebrate it with, man.
Yep.
What good is it? No. That's a very lonely feeling.
Yep.
I think about the rich young ruler, who was unwilling to part with all of his possessions, to follow after the Savior, the King, Yep. He wanted to cling on to that rather, and that can be a very lonely feeling, man, when you get to the mountaintop and you don't have nobody to share it with, man.
Yeah.
So I'm reminded always of that old Snoop Dogg classic, man. It ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. And my goal in life and my mission, bro, like I told you in one of the posts that you tag Nick, your brother, and I on, and I was like, man, like I would love to see all of us come up, man. Whatever I can do to make that happen for you, like I'll do that, and the same for the people around us.
Yeah.
Whoever the Lord surrounds us with, man, that's what I'm here to do.
Right.
And like you mentioned earlier, we might have our flaws and personality differences, bro. But at the core of it, man, we're always going to try to do what's in the best interest of those around us.
Right.
Yeah. And you could believe that.
Yeah.
That won't ever be in question, But, we're going to have you and I, man. We've disagreed, and but here we are, man.
Still here, still kicking it.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, like even though like the way I think of things might be different than the way you think of things, but at the end of the day, like the core of it, we're kind of on the same page.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? In this weird way, like we're on the same page, but I see it a little differently.
Yeah.
And but I think at the end of the day, I come with good intentions. I'm not trying to do anything ill will. I try to do right by others, try to be honest, straightforward.
Yeah.
That's just in my DNA, man. Like I can't, talking about like going back to, talking about having people's back and, being around like-minded people. Like even my brother, like jokingly, we were at this restaurant. Me and him joke around because me and him used to wrestle back in high school. He's a little younger than me, but he wrestled as well. And he's joking because he always we'll joke around with each other and we'll like, hey, you see that guy over there? He's kind of like, he's like bigger than my brother. And he's like, and my brother's like, hey, you think I can take him on? And I was like, and I looked at him and I was like, dude, of course. And he's like, really? You think so? He's bigger than me. And I was like, dude, if you're going to go to battle, I'm going to battle with you, bro. Like, hey, so you know what I'm saying? It's like, we should have each other's back. Cause I see a lot of people these days, dude. Like when it comes down to it, like if someone, like say we were to get like something was to pop off or something, a lot of these people,
back down,
dude. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, like I don't want people like that behind me. Like I want people that are going to stand, in the fire with me, bro. Like, they really got my back, those are the people that I want to surround myself with. And that's, according to this Bible, that's what I'm seeing, the trend with the people of God, man. And in today's culture, I mean, I'm not saying there's not that, but man, we need more of it. And I just feel like there's not enough of it going around because everybody's trying to do their own thing or they got some ill intention or whatever it is, Yeah. And so, man.
But all that's going to get exposed, man. And like I said, I feel like we're, the times that we're living in, man, it's becoming more of a weeding out process, man. And I'm prayerful and believing, man, that, sooner than we think we'll be able to establish these connections, man.
Yep.
And we'll be able to we'll begin to form these lifelong relationships, covenantal relationships that are for the remainder of our time here, man.
Yeah.
For the remainder of our journey.
Yeah.
I'm really prayerful about that, man. And I really hope that someone out there who's watching this can feel the sincerity that is really coming from the bottom of our hearts, man, and can relate and connect with us, man. And that this is what it's all about, man. No gimmicks. We're not about gimmicks. No games. That's just simply put, man. It's just that's just what it's all about.
Yeah.
We don't have any hidden agendas, no hidden motives. Yeah. What you see is what you get.
Yep.
you know, I don't have time to put on an act for people. I don't have the energy and the strength to put on an act for people, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man, you know, that's what it's all about. And getting a chance to encounter those people over the past weekend. And, you know, like you mentioned, I'm glad you brought up the Rosh Hashanah experience that we had, things like that to strengthen the bond and the unity that we already have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those moments were moments of reflection for me.
Yep.
And just a reminder that, man, we're on the right track. Yep. And this is what we're trying to do, is aligning with God's will. Yep. You know, for you know, the season and the time that we're in our lives. So,
right.
You know, I appreciate, you know, you getting on with me, man, and sharing this platform, and
sure,
you know, being a co-host on here with me, man. And appreciate Doug for all the hard work and effort that he's putting in. And yeah, hopefully very soon we'll be able to see the fruit, you know, come from this. Because at the end of the day, we're just trying to scatter the seed, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, at the end of the day, God gives increase, and he's the one who, you know, gives us the harvest. So he brings forth the harvest. So that's what we're praying about. That's what we're committed to. So, you know, I just appreciate everybody who's watching us, watching this episode today, man, who's taking the time to lend your support and give us a view, a like, you know, clicking the subscribe button. So we appreciate all the love, bro.
Yeah, for sure. And just bear with us, man, because this stuff is all new to us, I know, for both of us. And, you know, like earlier this week I had called you and I was like, man, what are we going to talk about? And I was like, you know what, man, it's funny because every time we have conversations, it just flows naturally. There's no pressure or anything like that. And for some reason, whenever we kind of first started this thing, I don't know, mentally you put a lot of pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, man, we got to get rid of that negativity, dog, and just let it flow like we normally would talk, just hanging out, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, just bear with us. We're still kind of figuring this thing out. And then as we, you know, put out more episodes, we'll try to perfect. And I mean, we're still learning, even having this conversation back and forth, asking each other questions and stuff like that. I mean, this is all new, and it all goes back again to the endless pursuit. We're still learning and growing together, man. And so that's what it's all about, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, man, you know, this is not an act, so we don't come with anything scripted, man. Right. Like, you know, what you see is what you get, man. And you know, we don't have any gimmicks, and so you know, that's kind of how we're approaching this, like a free flowing form, kind of like how you described just a while ago. The minute we cut off the cameras and the sound, the audio, you know, and we continue on about our day, these conversations continue all the time, bro.
Right. Yep.
You know, so it doesn't stop. And, you know, so that's all we're doing on here, man, is just sharing a piece of who we are and what we do and what we're about. And, you know, we're open to feedback too.
Yeah.
You know, we're open to feedback. You know, we're approaching this as if it's a collaboration. You know, It's not about, you know, I'm not trying to take center stage. You're not trying to take center stage. Nobody is, you know.
Because at the end of the day, man, it's all about God, bro.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to, man.
Yeah.
Doing life together.
Yeah. Yeah. So, man, we welcome the feedback, ideas. You know, if you have a background in audio, visual production or whatever, you know, lighting, whatever it is, man, like whatever, you know, you think you can contribute.
Let us know, man.
So like that was one of the snags that we hit too, trying to come up with a cool little intro video, which you'll see.
That was something else that we've been working on too.
Yeah. So just trying to find the right people that can help bring some of our ideas, because I feel like God inspires us with fresh ideas, you know, and concepts, but we've talked about the difficulty in bringing that about, like bringing that to life, you know, and connecting with the people that aren't just going to give you something generic,
Yeah.
but that can buy in and understand it and like just
Right.
be inspired too. And so we kind of hit a snag with that. So we came up with a little something. We collaborated with a group, a media company.
Yeah, media company.
They're in the River Oaks area, and they're helping us out, and they're the ones that came up with the intro that you see at the beginning of the episode. So yeah, we made some progress with that, and but you know, that things like that, you know, if you have background or experience on that, and you can enhance the quality of this product, man, we're open to that, man. It's really not about us, you know. It's about just trying to you know, just offer the best version of ourselves and this product to people, you know. So another thing too is like you mentioned earlier, the conversation doesn't stop, and this was kind of inspired and brought about by the gatherings that we have on a weekly basis. They're free flowing forum, you know, nothing scripted, where we come together and do fellowship, and, you know, we worship and pray and talk about our struggles. And so, you know, we have those on a weekly basis. For the most part, they usually are here out of our home.
Yep.
You know, or sometimes we, you know, go to other people's homes where we're invited and have church there. And so if you like and can relate to a lot of what you're hearing here, man, you guys are always welcome to come join us in person too.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
And that's you know, we're not trying to plug anything or any denomination or anything. It's just all about Christ, man.
Yeah.
That's it. And just trying to get to where we're going.
Yep.
You know, so you guys are always welcome to hit us up, you know, message us. We're going to include our personal or our social media links for you guys to be able to connect with us like that. I'm even willing to put out I have no shame in sharing my personal mobile number with people. You know, I'm always open to that. So if you guys want to connect with us, you guys are always welcome here, and you have a place, you know. And in the future, we also hope to bring on guests who have like really good, interesting stories to tell as well, that can be beneficial to all of us as well.
Yep.
And that we can grow from. So we look forward to what's happening and what's to come. And we hope you guys take this journey with us and come along for the ride, bro. So
appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah, we thank you guys so much. We appreciate you for tuning in today, and we look forward to coming back at you more regularly from, you know, going forward. I think all of our technical difficulties and snags are hopefully behind us, and we can start generating these on a more regular basis, guys. So we thank you. God bless you guys, man, and be encouraged, and the best is yet to come.